The Galactic Tribunal's chamber stretched endlessly upward, its crystalline walls humming with the weight of 1,000 civilizations' laws. Judge Vexithera, a towering being of chitinous plates and 6 calculating eyes, presided from a throne that seemed carved from a collapsed star. Around the vast amphitheater, representatives from hundreds of species watched with barely concealed anticipation. At the defendant's podium stood Ambassador Elena Vasquez, humanity's lone representative, dwarfed by the immensity of the court, but unwavering in her posture. Her simple black suit seemed almost quaint compared to the elaborate robes, environmental suits, and energy forms surrounding her. The charges against the species designated humanity are severe. Judge Vexithera's voice resonated through neural translators across the chamber. Unauthorized expansion into 17 star systems, destruction of 3 Kethmori mining platforms, and the complete annihilation of a Zarathi war fleet. Most grievously, you have violated the sacred Edict of Submission, the fundamental law that governs all lesser species' conduct in the presence of their betters. A ripple of agreement echoed from the gallery. The hegemony had ruled the galaxy for millennia, with species neatly categorized into hierarchical tiers. Humanity, barely 2 centuries into space travel, was classified as Tier 9, barely above the microorganisms that clung to asteroid surfaces. The sentence is clear, the judge continued, each word delivered with ceremonial finality. Total surrender of all human colonies, immediate cessation of military activities, and acceptance of hegemony oversight over your homeworld. Your species will learn its place in the cosmic order. The chamber fell into expectant silence. This was the moment where the defendant would bow their head, accept the judgment, and beg for mercy. It was how things had always been done. Elena Vasquez cleared her throat. "Your Honor," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics, "humanity respectfully objects." The silence that followed was different, heavier, pregnant with shock. Judge Vexithera's 6 eyes narrowed in unison. "You object?" The concept seemed foreign to the judge's tongue. Lesser species do not object. They accept. They submit. It is the natural order. Elena smiled, an expression that translated poorly across species but somehow conveyed more menace than any threat. "That's where you're wrong, Your Honor. We've studied your sacred edict, your natural order, your entire legal framework, and we found it lacking." She reached into her briefcase and withdrew a datapad. "You see, the hegemony's power has always rested on a simple principle. Advanced species naturally dominate primitive ones. It's written into your founding documents, encoded in your legal precedents, and accepted without question for 3,000 years. As it should be," interjected Prosecutor Zilmoth, a being of shifting plasma contained within a magnetic field. "Power determines hierarchy. Strength determines law." "Exactly," Elena nodded. "And that brings us to humanity's first piece of evidence." She tapped her datapad, and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber. The Battle of Kepler 442. The images showed the aftermath of what the hegemony had classified as a minor skirmish, a human colony defending against a Zarathi punitive expedition. What the images revealed made several species representatives recoil. 17 Zarathi dreadnoughts, Elena narrated dispassionately, each one a kilometer long, equipped with singularity weapons and protected by molecular disruption shields, against 3 human vessels, the UES Defiance, the UES Constitution, and the UES Never Again. Total displacement, less than 1 Zarathi ship. The hologram zoomed in on the wreckage field. The 3 human ships were gone, vaporized, but scattered. Around them were the twisted remains of all 17 Zarathi vessels. "You want to talk about the natural order?" Elena's voice hardened. "About strength determining law? Then let's discuss exactly where humanity fits in your hierarchy." She gestured, and new displays filled the air. Ship classifications, weapons, yields, military casualties. With each revelation, the chamber grew quieter. "The Kethmori mining platforms weren't destroyed in some accident," she continued. "They were military installations, disguised as civilian infrastructure preparing for an assault on New Geneva colony. We have the communications logs, we have the weapons manifests, and we have witness testimony from the survivors we chose to spare. More evidence cascaded through the chamber. The gallery, once smugly confident, began to shift uneasily. Several species representatives were quietly accessing their own intelligence networks, cross-referencing Elena's claims. Judge Vexithara's chitinous plates clacked together, a sign of agitation. Even if your claims are accurate, it changes nothing. The hegemony's authority transcends individual conflicts. Does it? Elena asked. According to hegemony law, authority derives from demonstrated superiority. Tier classification is based on technological advancement, military capability, and territorial control. Shall we examine humanity's current status in each category? The data that followed was devastating. Human faster-than-light technology that outperformed Tier 3 civilizations, weapons that could crack planets, and most damaging of all, detailed intelligence reports on every major hegemony species' military capabilities, obtained through infiltration, espionage, and analysis. We know about the Zephyllite revolt you've been suppressing for 70 years, Elena said quietly. We know about the resource crisis in the core worlds. We know about the growing alliances between Tier 5 and 6 species who are questioning why they follow orders from civilizations that can no longer protect them. The chamber erupted. Representatives began arguing among themselves, some demanding verification of Elena's claims, others calling for immediate military action against humanity. Through it all, Judge Vexithara sat frozen, his 6 eyes locked on the small human who had just dismantled 3 millennia of established order. Elena waited for the chaos to die down before speaking again. The hegemony built its authority on the assumption that might makes right, she said. We're not here to challenge that principle. We're here to claim our rightful place under it. She looked directly at Judge Vexithara. Humanity doesn't surrender to superior forces, Your Honor. We never have. We've fought ice ages and plagues, wars and famines, extinction events in each other. We've clawed our way up from cave dwellers to star travelers through nothing but stubborn refusal to accept defeat. The judge's voice, when he finally spoke, was barely above a whisper. What are you proposing? Elena's smile returned, cold as vacuum. Recognition. Humanity claims Tier 2 status within the hegemony, with all associated rights and territories. Our expansion continues, but now as a recognized power rather than an upstart colony. The species who attacked us first will pay reparations, and the hegemony will learn to see us not as subjects but as equals. And if we refuse? The judge asked. Elena gestured one final time. The chamber's displays filled with star maps showing human colonies, fleet positions, and alliance treaties with dozens of other species. But most chilling of all was the last image, a detailed schematic of the tribunal station itself, with targeting solutions for 17 different human weapons systems. Your Honor, Elena said conversationally, we've been having this conversation for 3 hours. In that time, human fleets have moved into position around 47 hegemony worlds. We've activated sleeper cells in 32 others, and we've been broadcasting this entire trial to every species in the galaxy, showing them exactly how the mighty hegemony responds when someone finally says, no. The chamber fell silent again. But this time, it was the silence of a new age being born. Judge Vexithara slowly reached for his ceremonial gavel. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of inevitability. The tribunal recognizes the species known as humanity as Tier 2, members of the Galactic hegemony, with all rights and privileges therein. Elena nodded respectfully. Thank you, Your Honor. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. As she gathered her materials and walked toward the exit, the chamber remained frozen in shock. Behind her, 3,000 years of established order crumbled into dust, replaced by a simple truth that humanity had always known. Sometimes the best way to find your place in the natural order is to make your own.